Cramers' game plan: the March jobs number was enough to dim recession worries. The was good enough to dim worries about a recession and not rattle the Federal Reserve, CNBC said Friday. The U.S. economy added 196,000 jobs, topping estimates for 175,000, and unemployment maintained a 3.8% rate. The number was a wage growth, however, eased a bit, increasing just 0.14%. As the Dow Jones Industrial Average rose more than 40 points during the session. The S&P, Cramers said the market didn't run very high because we've raised Cramers' game plan for next week. WD-40 will report earnings after the market closes. CEO Gary this. J.P. Morgan. The bank hosts its annual Boss Retail Roundup conference in New York City. Cramer expects Bed Bath & Beyond, the home goods chain, reports earnings after the bell. Activist invest maybe. Conagra has an analyst call scheduled. The company seemed Conagra's Walt Disney will host an analyst meeting, one that Cramer said will be the most critical that he's ever seen. The entertainment J.P. Morgan Chase J.I. Wells Fargo. Cramer thinks Wells Fargo will show positive results when it presents earnings before the market opens, but there are headwinds in its way. Still, China trade. It will be another week of speculation about a trade agreement between the United States and China. Disclosure: Cramer's charitable trust owns shares of J.P. Morgan Chase, Kohl's, and Disney.
Raindrop, drop top smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park pot.